Hey everybody, it's Tim again, and welcome back to another chapter of Cool Music Toys. Of course, this channel is mainly cool movie toys, but you know what? I grew up in a day with 3 TV channels and record players and singles and albums and transistor radio, so I really relied on music quite a bit when I was younger for my entertainment, and obviously growing up, you hear of, as the package says, the one, the only Willie Nelson. This is a new 8-inch retro figure by NECA, and a big thanks to NECA for sending this to me to review for you. Look, I mean, how many people expected an action figure of a 90-year-old music icon to come out? A guy that's still playing music to this day. That's what I think is so cool about this. NECA is showing no boundaries when it comes to producing cool music and movie stuff that really does highlight the classics and classic performers like Willie Nelson, the red-headed stranger, of course. Now, we're going to just give you a quick look at the package before I take it out. There's Willie right there with a nice backing. Pioneer of outlaw country music. Of course, he was with the Outlaws, Waylon Jennings, Willie Nelson, Jesse Coulter, and Tom Paul Glazer. Of course, also with the Highwaymen, Waylon Jennings, Chris Christopherson, and Johnny Cash. And who knows, maybe with any luck, we're going to get an action figures of those guys as well to complement this figure. But for now, I am so thrilled that we have this figure of Willie Nelson along with his famous acoustic guitar Trigger. So I'm going to take this out of the package. I'm going to take a closer look at the one, the only 8-inch retro action figure of an American icon, country music icon, period, Willie Nelson. Okay, everybody, I'm back with my review of the NECA 8-inch retro figure of Willie Nelson, the one and only Willie Nelson, country music icon, entertainment icon. Willie has been around for decades, and again, 90 years young, man. I love the fact that this guy has finally got an action figure at age 90. So NECA issued this one. This is new in the marketplace, and you can get them for about, anywhere between $30 to $35, depending on where you're looking. Probably best bet right now is online, although I have seen them at brick and mortar as well. So yeah, the figure comes with some pretty basic accessories, but iconic accessories nonetheless. I'm going to start with giving you a 360 of Willie. Now, I got him on a stand here, but before I started this video, you can pretty much prop these figures up on their own without stands. I do this because of the motion. Want to make sure that they just don't tip over because it's a centrifugal force or whatever. Just want to play it safe. But, he's got his, standard outfit, T-shirt and trousers. Of course, he has the long hair. Again, the red-headed stranger, but of course, the gray beard. Willie's been around a while. Of course, the man is an icon for so many reasons. Of course, for such standards, really, at this point. Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain. Mamas Don't Let Your Babies Grow Up to Be Cowboys with Waylon Jennings. Always on my mind. And of course, the singer and songwriter of On the Road Again. And of course, he wrote the iconic tune Crazy, which really became popularized by the late, great Patsy Cline. So, yeah, I'm really, really loving this figure out of the package. Now, I'm going to just take him up here for a second and switch off this light. Let's get a closer look at the portrait. And looks like we got some focusing issues. There we go. Yeah. Just look at that. I mean, it's amazing, amazing stuff. These guys continue to nail it. Now, I know after I did my review of Angus Young and Bon Scott, there were some people that were complaining, oh, they look cartoonish. Well, imagine you're trying to carve this tiny portrait you got to accentuate certain attributes, right? Facial attributes or whatever. But I'm sorry, I just didn't see that so-called cartoonish look in either of the AC/DC figures, or certainly not in Elton John. I mean, you have to be animated when you're on stage. Now, granted, Willie isn't animated in this portrait, but you have to admit, the portrait is spot on. Now, the difference between this figure and other music release figures so far is that I'm going to show you a little bit of the articulation. I mean, it has all the standard stuff, you know, bends at the knees. You can swivel the ankles, you know, obviously the waist, the arms, and we'll show you shortly, you know, holding his famous guitar trigger. With most of these releases, I know Elton John, it was a deluxe set, so we got 3 portraits overall for Elton, and we got an additional portrait for Bon Scott as well as Angus Young. Now here, again, what you are getting is the figure itself as well as, and it's coming around the turntable here, cowboy hat, bandana over there, and I'm going to give you a closer look once we get up to speed here. There you go. And, of course, Willie's bandana right here, which is really cool. Let's show you Trigger here. Right down to the broken soundboard. Now, the big difference with this version of Trigger, and, of course, the iconic red, white, and blue guitar strap as well. Obviously not real strings, but you can definitely feel the frets on here, which I think is really cool. Okay. Willie's Trigger actually has over 100 signatures of various friends who have signed his guitar. Now, that would have been a real challenge for NECA to try to replicate those signatures. So we don't get that, but what we do get is the worn look. You know, again, this guitar is almost as iconic as Willie himself. Okay. Looks pretty good back here. I'm sure in reality that's probably a bit worn as well as this stuff. But I really think that they nailed the look of Trigger here. So that is really cool. Obviously we have the cowboy hat. A removable hat. I know when I reviewed the Indiana Jones releases over the summer, and I got some more still coming up, people were saying, you can't remove the hat. You can't remove the hat. Well, you can definitely remove the hat here. So I'm just going to give you a closer look here. Yeah, it looks awesome. And then, of course, his famous bandana. And then just give me a second here to... There we go. So, yeah. And look at the detailing on the bandana. I say it every time. I will say it again. Why do I love NECA? It's because of details. These guys are into every single detail of their releases, and look at that. And it's just not some, you know, I could see other companies just throwing a red piece of plastic together and putting it up there and try to make that represent. But no, we actually have a stylized bandana on Willie as well. So what I'm going to do is take a pause. I'm going to set Willie up with Trigger, and we'll do some further looks at the other music action figures as well as Willie all together. Okay, I'm back with the one and only Willie Nelson, NECA's latest music action figure, and of course I mentioned before, I should say latest 8-inch retro style action figure. As I mentioned before, Elton John, the deluxe Live in 75 set, Bon Scott, a late singer of AC/DC, and of course Angus Young, the iconic guitarist for AC/DC, are among their releases. We got some other cool stuff coming up too. I'm really looking forward to their reissue of the 7-inch figure of Freddie Mercury, which is being expanded in a way. They're actually going to be adding a couple different portraits to that release as well. So right here, again, you're getting one portrait. To me, that's all you need for this particular release. Again, this release is running at about $35 right now. I've seen it for a little bit cheaper, anywhere from, I said 30 before, maybe 32, 33 to $35. But either way, it's worth it. This is a solid figure. I mean, you can just feel it in your hands. The joints are tight. Posability. I mean, look, Willie, you're not going to see a lot of dynamic poses in real life from the guy now, jamming out or whatever. Certainly not anything you'd see from Angus Young from AC/DC, or seeing Elton at this piano and live in 75. But, it really does serve its purpose. I'm going to give you a 360 of Willie with Trigger, his guitar, signatureless guitar. Again, it would have been a lot of work trying to squeeze 100 tiny little signatures on that guitar for NECA, but it is just such of an excellent representative of what the instrument is. Now, of course, I have Willie with his bandana on, and I'll give you a closer up look there. Again, you can see the details. See, he's got the pick in his hands. The other hand just perfectly grasps the frets. And one thing you'll probably notice once we wind around here is that you're not going to put the cowboy hat on top of the bandana on his head. That's something you have to take off. But yeah, I really do love this figure. I love music, right? And this is a great thing. I mean, obviously got heavy metal, hard rock with AC/DC. Elton is, pop and rock, and Willie is country. NECA's, they're paying attention to fans across the board, okay? So, let's stop this here and just pop off this bandana and put on the put on his cowboy hat again. Mamas, don't let your babies grow up to be cowboys. Well, I'm really glad that Willie Nelson's mom allowed him to be a cowboy and the great country music singer that he is. So people are wondering, any other accessories? No, again, the one portrait, the bandana, the guitar, Trigger, the cowboy hat. No tiny little joint there. I thought maybe they're going to sneak that one in. No, I think you're going to have to make your own if you want that. But that's another discussion for another time. So I'm telling you right now, I just really, really love this figure. So let me take the stand out of the way and put Willie with some of his fellow musicians. I guess you could call this a fantasy lineup, obviously, since Bon Scott is no longer with us. Let's see if we can tilt the head. Well, yeah, we can tilt the head up a little bit. I mean, how cool is this? I mean, they're putting together these music figures with their instruments and microphones, etc. I mean, what a great display this would make. Again, it doesn't matter if you appreciate music across the board like I do. Look, I love country music. I love rock and roll, classical. If they did Bach and Mozart figures, I'd buy them as well, man. Yeah, that's how much I love music. So really, this is just a great cross-representation of music as we know it today. Of course, Willie Nelson's been around since the early 60s. Elton, late 60s. The AC/DC, late 60s, 70s. So, this is kind of representing the classical section of music, but again, from so many different genres. So I'm absolutely loving this. My name is Tim Lammers. I normally review cool movie toys, but today it's cool music toys. And I certainly hope to be reviewing more of these for you. Again, with as much as I love music, I just think it's so rare that we get music action figures. There's just a couple different companies that do produce them with any sort of regularity. Obviously, the top producer of all of them really is NECA, and they do such of a stellar job with everything. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this video, please like it. Please subscribe. Please tell all your country music loving friends, your Willie Nelson loving friends, and I will be back soon, hopefully with another cool music toy review. But certainly in the meantime, I will have some more cool movie toy stuff coming from NECA and other companies as well. Happy toy hunting, everybody.